Hello, welcome, and thank you for showing up for this 75 Strong webinar. My name's Carlos. I am the author of the book 75 Strong and creator of the 75 Strong Challenge. Not everybody has time to read the book, and even if you never even try to read the book, I want you to benefit from the way this 75-day challenge can improve your life. So within the next 15 minutes, I'll cover everything you need to know to get started on the challenge, tell you why you should, why it's beneficial, give you the motivation, and then give you some tips for things to do along the way and after to get the most of it. So let's jump right into things. A couple years ago, something happened that changed all of our lives, the pandemic. Now, whether you lived a healthy life before that, or you lived a less than healthy life in terms of habits and what you spent your time and energy on, we were all stuck in a place where our routines disappeared. Our daily activities that reinforced a healthy life and formed the foundation of a healthy life disappeared. Now, if you work from home, maybe you're already used to it, but if you were like me, I needed to get outside and see the sun. I needed to go hike. I needed to see the people in my life that I cared about. Before we get started, let me share a little bit about myself. Like I said, I'm Carlos Greider. I write at abrotherabroad.com about travel, better ways of living, and life as a digital nomad and expat. But before that, I was a Marine. I was in the Marine Corps. Following the Marine Corps, I joined the corporate world as a management consultant where I focused only on improving processes. And I've combined those two to create the 75 Strong Challenge, which not only builds strength, tenacity, and gives us the tools to live a better life, but does it in a way that's efficient and improves everything that we do in an easy to do way. Easy. Anyways, well, over that first month of the pandemic, I realized that I was slowly getting more and more unhealthy. Maybe it was a couple extra beers or a couple extra episodes on Netflix, but somewhere along the way, I allowed my healthy routine to disintegrate. And I realized this when one day, about a month in, when I was lucky enough to be stuck on Bali, I decided one day to sneak out and go surf just because it was what I needed. Or I felt like I needed. I didn't need it, but anyways, I did. It was the worst surf session I'd had since I'd started surfing. I got pummeled by the waves. I could barely breathe. My cardiovascular fitness was not there. I felt weak. So as I struggled to get back to the shore, finally, I threw my board on the ground and just sat and looked out at the ocean and realized how far I drifted from the person I was physically a month before. And I thought, what else had I let slip? I realized it was most of my life. So I took a step back and decided to systematically re-ingrain all of those foundational habits that kept me fit, that kept me happy, that kept me mentally astute. And as I sat down and wrote down this list of things that I wanted back, these habits I wanted back, I also realized there were other habits that I could add to this in order to improve my life in the long run. Now, around the same time, I'd stumbled on a 75-day challenge. There seemed to be hundreds of them going around at that time. But a couple in particular almost bothered me. Now, my background is a Marine, staying physically fit, as well as a CrossFit trainer and a personal fitness trainer. It highlighted a few things that bothered me and that I'd be worried about if a client said they were going to do those 75-day challenges. But there was value in them. So I took it to the drawing board and came up with what I refer to as the 75 Strong Challenge. Now, what makes this better than other challenges? The 75 Strong Challenge is a challenge over 75 days to build positive habits that will not only benefit you at day 75, but will ultimately be sustainable in the long run and will benefit you even years from now. Now, whether it benefits you by maintaining physical fitness and being able to play with your grandkids outside or continue to surf or do the activity you enjoy, or perhaps these habits, such as thankfulness and self-appreciation, will make you happier about what you have around you and more appreciative of yourself, even when you don't get that appreciation from other people. So that was the idea. Now, come to find out, research has been done, and contrary to popular belief that 21 days creates a habit, it does not. In actuality, just around 65 days creates a habit. Now, oddly, you can create a habit over roughly 65 days, and even though you miss a day every once in a while, which means if you complete a task at a 90% rate, in other words, 9 days out of 10, and do it for about 65 days, The target number is about 74 with one celebration day. In other words, 75 days. So 75 days is the perfect number to target in terms of number of days that you're doing it to create a habit. But now that I'd had this realization that I needed to rebuild this foundational structure in my life in terms of routine and positive habits, actions that I would do without thinking about them every single day to keep me in the shape that I want it to be, mentally, physically, and emotionally. What would these tasks be? I came up with a list of 10 tasks that if I could complete them up until every day until day 75 and make them habits, my life would be exponentially better. And here's the 10. So here are the 10 tasks that you should complete for 75 days that will benefit your life far beyond day 75. Task number 1, be thankful. How do you do this? Every day when you wake up, list 20 things that you're thankful for. Now your first thought might be, 20 things is a lot, I can't do that. That's exactly why we're doing it. You have 20 things. As I sit here right now, I'm thankful for clean water. I'm thankful for the meal that I had for breakfast. I'm thankful for this phone that I can record this webinar on. I'm thankful for internet. That way I can deliver this and you can see me. I'm thankful for my family. I'm thankful for my girlfriend. I'm thankful for so many things that I don't actually express thanks for on a regular basis. Now, why do we do this? It puts our attention on the positive things in our life that we have. That way we can invest energy in them. You can invest energy in being angry at stuff. You can invest energy in a job you hate, or you can invest energy in something that you really, really love and focus. Research shows that being thankful, expressing thankfulness for something has a positive boost hormonally, mentally. That's worth it. So starting your day out with a positive boost by being thankful. List those 20 things. Task number 2, appreciate yourself. Just like there are 20 things around you to be thankful of that you don't commonly recognize, you have 20 things about yourself that need to be appreciated so they can grow. And if nobody else does it, you should do it. You can go your entire day criticized by your coworkers, your boss, your spouse. You should get positive from somewhere. And if you don't get it from anywhere else, you should be able to rely on yourself for it. So over the course of the day, list 20 things about yourself that you appreciate. Number 3, be still. So for me, this is meditation. And I take out time every day, at least 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes in the afternoon, and just sit quietly and let my thoughts kind of dissipate and enjoy just existing. This is something we don't do often enough in society. Now, you can call it woo-woo and meditation-ish, or you can just call it sitting on the porch enjoying a sunset. You should have at least 15 minutes every day where you're not checking Instagram, checking Facebook, checking any social media, where you're not chatting with anybody, where you're not planning work, where you're not worrying about where you're going to be next or where you were before. Just being in that moment and appreciate the life you have by just sitting there and doing nothing. Doing nothing is a great art. So do yourself a favor every day with task number 3 and just sit still for 15 minutes. Task number 4, just move. Research has shown that exercising on a regular basis correlates with a 70% lower mortality rate. Mentally, research has shown that exercising on a regular basis correlates with higher cognitive function and better memory. Emotionally, exercising on a regular basis has been shown in research to correlate with a lower chance of and an occurrence of depression. It also gives a positive hormone boost every single time you work out. We have no reason not to exercise. So during this challenge, 2 days out of every 3, so in other words, exercise 2 days and rest for 1. Sorry, I've got orange on my hands from turmeric. That's part of the healthy part. 2 days out of every 3, exercise. On the 3rd day, stretch. So for those of us that exercise, and if you're in your 40s and beyond, that's the time when you start losing your flexibility. And a lot of injuries, usage injuries, correlate with a loss in range of motion. You lose the range of motion simply because you don't use it. So we're going to build in the habit of exercising routinely and also stretching routinely. So exercise, what should we do? Do you have to go to CrossFit or compete like an Olympic level athlete? Absolutely not. CDC recommendation is moderate activity. Think walking or just playing with the kids, 150 minutes per week. If you work out 5 days a week, 2 days on, 1 day off, that's about 30 minutes. 30 minutes of just walking in the park or playing with your kids. 30 minutes of doing any activity that you enjoy. Now, if you want to step things up, do a little CrossFit, do something high intensity, like a HIIT workout, then exercising 75 minutes per week is the CDC recommendation. So if you exercise 5 days a week for only 15 minutes each time, and you can find these workouts on YouTube or on a CrossFit website or something like that, 5 days a week, 15 minutes, that's heart healthy right there. Bottom line, task number 4, exercise for 2 days, stretch for 1, then repeat for 75 days. Task number 5, eat healthily. Now, this was a problem that existed with a few of the other challenges. The challenges said to do a diet, but diets are normally something prescribed by a physician or a dietitian or a nutritionist in order to treat a disease. So most of the diets out are either fads, not based in science, or they're aimed to target a specific disease. Think keto, the keto diet, created and adapted for cancer patients. Not necessarily what you need on a daily basis. Now, with that said, take your advice on eating from your physician, nutritionist, dietitian, or yourself. Not even from me. For this challenge, our goal is to simply eat healthily, and that will vary from person to person. There are certain things that we can universally agree on that are healthy. Eating more vegetables, nutrient-rich foods is healthy. Reducing processed foods, such as deep fried foods, is healthy. Reducing sugar, processed sugar intake, not sugar from fruits or things like that, but processed sugar and packaged food, reducing that is healthy. So for 75 days, aim to add in healthy eating habits. So does that mean eliminating sodas and staying under the 25 grams of sugar per day recommendation that the FDA has? By the way, 25 grams of sugar, which is the recommendation, the maximum amount of sugar is about the same as 1 can of soda. So if you have 1 can of soda, you probably had enough sugar for the day. Eliminating anything beyond that. On top of that, adding healthy things. Or perhaps calculating how many calories per day you need. Don't worry, I'll add in the notes a source where you can go find out exactly how many calories you need in a day. The only 2 things that I'd recommend looking into and discussing with your doctor are 1, the elimination diet, and 2, intermittent fasting. Here's why. The elimination diet is a scientifically proven approach and a medical tool, we'll say, to assess what your body needs and the things that cause a negative reaction in your body, whether it's an allergic reaction or just a very mild negative reaction, like an upset stomach, messing up the biome in your stomach. The elimination diet is not a tactic to lose weight. It is not a tactic to change your body shape. It is not a tactic to burn fat. It is a tactic to understand the foods that work well with your body and the foods that do not. I am not a doctor. I am not a dietitian. I am not a nutritionist. So what I'm saying is to go talk to your doctor about it. Additionally, read the research on it. There's a book out on it written by the doctor who founded this. But do not engage in any of this. No diets, no diet changes based on my advice or anybody else's, except for licensed professionals and medical practitioners. The second thing that I'll recommend is intermittent fasting, because eating within a certain window of time limits the amount that you can eat. That way you don't overeat, as is common in Western societies. Additionally, it gives a period of time when your body is not dedicating its resources. Think of blood, all the blood pumping to your stomach after you eat, when your stomach's digesting. It gives an amount of time where your body doesn't have to put any energy towards digesting food, and instead can work on your immune system, healing injuries, healing sickness, and things like that. But talk to your doctor, talk to your nutritionist, talk to your dietitian. Bottom line though, number 5, figure out the healthy eating habits that you need to live longer and live the life that you want, and add at least one of those in. Number 6, skip alcohol. No matter who you are, you will benefit from skipping alcohol. Research has shown that there is no safe amount of alcohol, and any amount of alcohol consumed does destroy brain cells in a way that you will not get back. Number 2, consuming alcohol disrupts your mood in a way that you likely do not recognize, and it affects your mood for days afterwards. Now, I will warn you that from the hundreds of people that have done this challenge so far, skipping alcohol has been the hardest one. Not because they're alcoholics or they're alcohol dependent, but it's because Alcohol is so ingrained in culture and society in a social way, so you will have to navigate around this one in an interesting way. I'll give you some resources on that, how to do that later, but just know that it's going to be a difficult one, but it is likely one of the most beneficial. Skip alcohol. Number 7, read a book. Reading correlates with a lower likelihood of Alzheimer's and additionally develops analytical skills and correlates with higher cognitive function. There is no downside to reading. And with the amount of time we spend on social media, if you take some of that time that you spend on your phone and spend it reading, your life and your brain will improve. Read. Number 8, learn something new or spend time continuing to learn something new. That could be learning the guitar. It could be learning a skill for work. It could be anything. But at the end of the day that you stop growing is the day that you start dying. If you continue to learn, you continue to grow. Stay in that learning mode. Constantly look for something new to learn. Number 9, do something that you're passionate about. Every single day you should do something that makes you feel alive. If you haven't, then it's not necessarily a wasted day, but you probably could have done better. Now, when we're talking about passions, it can be something like, for me, is traveling or exploring or trying a new food, cooking a new recipe. You must be passionate about your kids. You're probably passionate about your partner, and you're probably passionate about hobbies that you've neglected for months on end. If you dedicate 15 minutes per day to spending time with that person or that hobby, your life, your happiness will improve. Your relationship with that activity or person will improve, and it'll be something that grows and takes up more space in your life. And if you're passionate about it, you're spending more time with it, that's a good thing. Exponential benefits. So, 15 minutes per day, do something you're passionate about. Number 10, record the journey. Now, by record the journey, I just mean record the task that you've completed so that you know that you're doing these things, doing every single thing on this list at least 9 days out of every 10. So what next? You've completed the 75 days and you're wondering what now? Well, number 1, take stock of what you've done. You should be proud of yourself. Do a little celebration. Go grab a cookie or something. Once you're done with that, look at the habits that you've ingrained into your life, whether it's being thankful every day, being appreciative of yourself every day, working out every day, skipping alcohol, and figure out which ones are important enough to keep in your life or giving you enough benefit to keep in your life, and aim to keep those. The ones that aren't benefiting you enough and just seem like they're time taken out of your day, eliminate them. Adapt this to what fits for you. So number 1, take stock of what you've done and keep the progress that you want to keep in terms of the habits you built. Number 2, consider doing another 75 days. Now, this 75 was based off of the framework, the 10 habits that worked for me and worked for a lot of other people. However, in the long term, you need to work for what works best for you. So take on 75 more days of building 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 new habits that you want in your life that will lead to the tomorrow that you want. Now it's time for bonuses. If you look down there, I think there should be a PDF download, several of them. One of them is going to be a checklist. The checklist is simply a printable PDF that has a space for every single day, for every single activity. That way you can track what you've done. Being able to mark off those checks in the boxes is it's a little bit of gratification. Also tracking the progress and making sure you're keeping up with that 90% mark. Number 2 is actually a journal. Now the journal is the same thing, expanded a little bit more. It's a PDF that you can print. Every single day has a space for each activity that you've completed. Also, a bit of advice, whether it's a quote or just direct advice, based on the progress that other people have done, the challenge have made. It's a little bit of a hint or a tip as to how to handle how you might be feeling at that point in time. The third bonus is a copy of another book that I've written that I haven't publicized as much. It's called A Little Guide to a Happy Life. And that book guides you through an approach to define what you want in life a little bit more and write a map for yourself as to how you can get there. Hence the title, A Little Guide to a Happy Life, written by you. So I want to give you a heads up there is likely a course coming out soon around this challenge. If you understand what's going on and you have the motivation to do this 75 days, then you're good. You actually don't need it. However, this course will have lots of workouts, fitness advice, mobility exercises. That way you know what you should do on a daily basis to reactivate your body the way we want to. Additionally, there'll be mindfulness and meditation exercises, some things that I've gathered on my travels that'll just tools. If just sitting still isn't enough for you, then these will help you out in maximizing that quiet time. Additionally, there'll be a few exercises for optimizing your life and just tons of other information and tools that will help you get the most of this challenge and design the next phase of the challenge for yourself. Thank you very much for attending. If you have any questions, hit me up, and I wish you the best of luck on this challenge. Get after it.